Alex Green, it is such a pleasure to see you, man. Like we were just BSing there, been talking now 13 years, back to the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel days.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been the first story that I wrote at the Journal Sentinel was connecting with you, coming in as a third round pick out of Hawaii, and in my head saying holy shit about five times over because I couldn't believe everything you've been through from overcoming the dyslexia as a child to the homelessness at Butte Community College, like living out of your car in a Walmart parking lot, just surreal. But then you play some football, you play some really, really good football, especially in 2012. And then your life went about a million different directions, and you've been so open about it here, elsewhere. But thanks so much for doing this, Alex. How you doing?
No, of course, man. I mean, a guy like you asked me to come on, I'm coming, bro. Like you've been, and that's the thing I try to tell even like my kids, like the people who you come across, you never know how they will impact you and affect you later on in life. And you got that impact on me just from you being genuine. You were rooting for me from the start, even though I had like my struggles. You like the questions you asked was never like to come at me. Some of the questions them dudes, I won't drop no names. I probably
Go
can't.
ahead.
Now,
That's all
now
right.
I ain't playing, so it don't matter. I can drop whatever name, but like people would say things, and you kind of see, okay, I see how the article is gonna go. I see the kind of narrative you want to create, but you always kind of kept me like in that positive light. So for that, I appreciate that, man. So it's an honor for me to come on and be on your podcast, and sharing, just talking story, man, and catching up for sure.
Well, dude, we appreciate it. I think that it's like any line of work, any business, anything in life, it's just about relationships and
No
just
question.
having conversations, not interrogations. It's football, right? It's and you were going through shit early. I mean,
Yeah,
injuries that nobody really knew about. And
yeah,
God, I
yeah,
mean, even the one year that you were able to play and start and have some
yeah.
success, I want to say you were hurting that year, right?
Bro, I was hurt, man. I hate to say that because like, oh, you making an excuse. But like now that I'm all like out of shape and old and like, okay, I'm all the way done with football. I'm not gonna come back, no matter what. But like, yeah, I was hurt, man. Like my knee, I'm telling you, Tyler, like my knee was swell up after practices. So by Thursday practice, where we kind of just doing bag polish and just fine tuning things up before the Friday practice, I would be like in a training room all day just to get the swelling down. Then you go to a Friday practice where it's just like, you're in shells and it's quick, like hour and a half. Bro, we travel Saturday game Sunday. Like my knee just got done being swollen, let alone the pain, but just like the physical where you can see it's actually swollen. It was crazy, man. I tried to push through it as much as I could, and I tried to trust the process and trust the trainers. And I love those guys in there, Flea, them guys. Like, them guys is great, but I just didn't take time to fully heal. Because if you remember, I came back like, I think, like 8, 9 months. I was already in training camp. So I wasn't like there yet. I was still like limited for a while, but man, I should have took the whole year. Like for instance, Andrew Querlis, I think he tore his like a month after me, and he took the whole year, like that whole next year off,
Yeah.
right? And so for me, I came back that same or that next year and played in the season, just hitting the ground running. And as a running back, man, you got to give it time to heal. We cutting, and then you got the scouting reports where teams know, oh, he had a left ACL. When they shooting for the knee, I was just watching some old tape on us against Detroit when they had Nick Fairley and Ndamukong Suh. Those dudes was playing dirty, bro. They was dirty, man. They be on the bottom of your pile, just doing stuff and like, it just wasn't. I just wasn't the same player, But obviously, they gave me an opportunity. I'm grateful for it. But if I can go back and it happened again, I would definitely take that 20-year off and just fully recover and come back in 2013. I was just I mean, I was young and I'm like, man, I gotta play now or else I'm gonna get cut, which probably would have been true. But at least on another team, I would have had at least a full year to recover so I can kind of get back to myself. But nonetheless, man, best football team in the country. I mean, obviously, Green Bay Packers is bar none. So to be in that, I think in that year in 2011, we went 15-1, 2012 playoffs, the whole nine. But, yeah, if I could take time, man, I would have took that time off for sure.
That's unbelievable. Probably unsurprising to those listening that Ndamukong Suh and Nick Fairley, coached by one Jim Schwartz, would be nosediving for the left
Mhm.
ACL. Man, so you were just watching film and could see that? That might have even was that the game where Sue was stomping on Evan Diedrich Smith too?
It might have been that same game. I'm not sure. It might have been that same game. Is that when he like put his head down or something, or I don't know,
Yeah, yeah. It was either
pushed
11 or
AI's head
12.
or something? I don't
That was
know.
2011, actually. Yeah, so it would have been
Okay,
the next year.
okay.
So they didn't quite, reform themselves and clean up they're they're gunning for your ACL.
It
Jesus.
was just crazy. I was watching actually on YouTube because I was gonna post some clips to my IG, and so I was looking at little clips because I had a decent game. And me and Sue from the same city. We both from Portland. His mom, my mom, they friends and whatnot and hang out. But I was watching the film and I was showing people like, yo, look at this. Like, watch me kick him at the end of the pile because he was twisting my leg and you could see me actually try to kick him off me, like at the end of the pile, like just little things. I'm like, I forgot about that, man. They was dirty. They was playing dirty. Hell of a players, but they was dirty, man.
Guys you want on your side in a violent game, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want them on my side. I don't want to go against them dudes. They played too dirty.
Well,
Yeah,
man,
man.
before we just kind of open it up here and everybody can just fire away. I mean, we spoke for I don't know an hour and a half before on everything. I
Yeah,
mean, the addiction, alcohol, drugs, cocaine, it's
yeah.
surreal what you've been through at the end of your career and then everything after and then turning it all around. But, for those listening that don't really know where Alex Green's life went after this football stuff in Green Bay, where would even begin to sum that up?
Yeah, so after Green Bay, they sent me to the Jets. That was a big no to begin with. You send me go from one of the best teams in the NFL to one of the worst. And you can see it and feel it in practice, in the locker rooms, how we traveled, the hotels. I mean, it was top down, and all kudos to Gino. He's doing great. But like when I was there with him, he was a rookie. He was trying to figure things out with desperate Rex Ryan. And so it was like throw everything in the fire, and he just couldn't handle it. Then the next year we brought in like Chris Johnson, which was super dope to play alongside him. Ed Reed, right, a yellow jacket guy, Hall of Fame. We had Santone Holmes, like he brought in some dudes. So that was cool to like see that whole process and see how these veteran guys how they go about their business and their like love for the game. But like, the whole football part of it, man, it was terrible. We were losing every game. New York, those fans, they'll boo you out the stadium, man. They are ruthless. The media are ruthless. And so that made me like kind of fall out of love with football because everything else around it wasn't actually the game. It was just the politics and like going to practice wasn't fun no more. It was all business. And it was like, man, I'm not, Rex Ryan was on his last leg. So he was just, everything was going. And if you're not winning, man, everybody pissed off. So I got done playing with the Jets and I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to go home. So I went home. I'm back to Portland for a couple years, be with my kids and the family, just kind of decompress and everything. I couldn't even watch football for like 2 years just because I was so in it. It was like, man, I got to like just, it's hard to watch it because I'm watching the game on TV like I'm watching film. I couldn't watch it as a fan. So it was hard, and I knew I could still play again. I was like, I can't watch these guys that I came out with balling out. It was too hard for me to see. And so I was done playing, and then one day, man, I was drunk as hell. I'll never forget this, Tyler. I was drunk, right? And I passed out, and I woke up hungover, and I texted my agent, and I said, hit up every team in the CFL, and I should see what happens. Just like that. I said, hit up every team in the CFL, and I see what happens. Right, hungover as I don't know what, right? And so he did. And so he reached out, he sent my tape, reached out to every team in the CFL. Everybody was like, oh, I gotta do a workout and we gotta see. And I'm like 15 pounds overweight, I'm like, no, I'm not working out. Just sign me, I can still play. And so Hamilton in Canada, they reached back and said, okay, well, we'll invite him to the mini camp before training camp starts and see how he does there. I said, okay, I'll do that. I go up there, man, have a great camp, blah, blah, blah. I go to training camp, have a decent camp. I come back home and say, oh, you got released. We're going to sign CJ Gable, a numbers game for the Americans and Canadians. So I go back home for another 3-4 months. Now I'm smoking, smoking with my boys and I'm in the alley. And No, we in a parking lot driving through. I'm never forget driving through an alley, taking a shortcut somewhere, and they called me and they said, "Hey, we want to bring you up here on Monday." This was like a Thursday. Now I'm like 20 pounds overweight. A few months don't go by, and I'm like, "Oh man, like okay, yeah, like let's do it." Because now June Jones had just signed to be the head coach in Canada for Hamilton after going 0-8 in the beginning of the season. They fired the head coach. So being a Hawaii native, June Jones go out there, he bring me up there. I go up there, man, and I spent 2 weeks on the practice squad. CJ gets hurt. I play the first game against BC, which is on the West Coast. My friends and family can go up there and watch me play. I have like 10 carries, 140 yards. I come back home or go back to Hamilton. That next Monday at meetings, I was the man. They said we traded CJ to Edmonton. You the starting running back. And the rest was history. I had a great year. I caught Johnny Manziel's first touchdown pass with a broken hand. My second season, that was dope. And just like doing what I love, right? Playing the position that I love, playing the game that I love, being around that atmosphere again with a new mindset. Now I can like, okay, I can figure things out. And my approach was a lot different. I was taking time with my body, and it wasn't the politics. It's not a multi-million dollar business up there. So if you lose, you don't got to worry about having your job gone. If you fumble the ball or make a mistake, you still got a job. So that was like fun. It was still football again. So that was cool. We was winning. We was one game short from the Grey Cup, which is like the Super Bowl up there. So it was all great. They wanted to re-sign me in 2019, and I was just like, no, I'm done. Like I did that for me. It wasn't for the money. It wasn't for the fame or whatever. It was just for me to redeem myself personally. So I went up there, I did what I had to do, and then once I was done, I was done. So I come back home. Now I'm really done from the game. Like I'm all the way done from the game. I would not come back no matter what. I'm trying to figure things out. And so for those who don't know, I live by this thing that say if you don't rise to the occasion, you revert back to your training. And so my training was hanging around certain people doing certain things before, the football success. And if it wasn't for football, I probably would be doing those things full time. And so I got around the same people doing the same things, and that's when the drugs and alcohol, man, became like just from a recreational thing to a this is what I need to go on with my life. This is what I need on a daily basis, or else I'll physically get sick if I don't have it. And so when I tell you I was drinking every day, I was drinking every single day. When I tell you I was smoking every day, all day, I was smoking every day, all day. I mean, weed and alcohol was like pancakes and syrup, right? They just go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. And then I had the cocaine, right? Asked some guys who was doing their thing in the streets. So I was literally getting free cocaine, and so I was getting it. I wanted it. I was getting it, and again, it went from like, oh, I should do it on the weekends, the party, to like, oh man, this Tuesday is kind of hard to get through. Let me get a little pick me up to like, oh, well, it's Thursday. It's almost the weekend. Now it's like, well, a Monday, start the week off strong. Let me get the week off strong, and then I'll kind of slow down. Well, that turned into like every day. And when I say every day, I mean every day. And I mean all day. I was just telling the guy, a kid at my school, about that story because he had some questions about some things. I'm like, look, man, I was doing this in the 7 o'clock in the morning, you know, putting in my nose. 12 o'clock p.m., same thing. 3 o'clock, 6, 8 o'clock. Oh, well, it's 10. Now we partying, and then who knows how long all night. I mean, it was all the time. And that's what I needed to just feel okay. And so that led me into obviously, man, the state of depression, anxiety, a lot of fear, not feeling like myself. I mean, I'm like in my own community, and I would go to like a Target, right, or a gas station, or even some outings, and it's like, oh, Alex Green, oh man, what's up, man? I'm so proud of you and this and this, and like I was miserable inside, and so that kind of made me feel I had that identity crisis because I was still Alex Green tagged to that football player and had the expectations to live a lifestyle. But inside, man, I felt like crap. I wasn't with my kids. I wasn't doing anything to really make an impact on my community. I wasn't taking care of myself physically or emotionally. And I wasn't being with my family, which is what my excuse was for not playing football. So I was being a hypocrite to everything that I stood on. And so for me, it was just like, okay, when I go outside my house, I gotta be this person. I gotta be this football player, and I got it all good, and life is great, and I'm happily retired. And what do you guys need? I got you. I help you out. And look at me, right? But then when I go inside, man, I'll cry, I'll be miserable. I'll try to figure out how can I just feel better. And so the drugs and alcohol, man, was my best friend. That was the only thing that would listen to me. Those are the only things that would comfort me and make me feel better and give me the confidence boost that I needed, that I thought I needed. And so that led me, man, to like, and that was like a year, 2 years, just a constant cycle of this. And so that led me into a depression so bad that I wanted to commit suicide. And thank the God I didn't. Instead of doing that, I reached out to someone, my program manager from the NFL, and she encouraged me to go to treatment in Jacksonville, Florida. And so I did 45 days in Jacksonville. And I mean, the first 10 days, man, was miserable. You know, like on day 4, I was just like, I had my head on the wall. I remember crying. I was like, I'm gonna never go back to what this feeling feels like, to feel hopeless and feel like I had nothing to live for. I would never go back to that. 'Cause I always knew I could be better. I wanted better. That lifestyle just wasn't me naturally. I'm naturally a good dude and caring and loving and want to help. But I was doing things that just wasn't me. Like it's them. They can do that just fine. Like you can go about your business every day, but that's you. I can't. AG can't do that. You know, I gotta do it this way. That's what make me feel good. And I promised myself when I wanted. So 45 days later, man, once I got out, I went straight to Houston and started getting my life back, man. You know, started my nonprofit Dream and Believe Foundation, had my LLC for my Dream and Believe training. Dropped some merch, my Believe merch, and started my children's book, Dream and Believe. AJ wants to play football. I started getting in the community more. I do motivational speaking where I travel the country and speak, you know, the elementary school, middle school, high school organizations. I just did AAA for the team building workshop a few weeks ago. I do mentorship work. Like I'm all over the country and in my community and with my family and my kids, you know, and just doing what I love, you know. And so, and yeah, it was a struggle and kind of going backwards to like growing up, you know, in my JUCO days. Like, yeah, I was like, you know, homeless in junior college, you know, for a period of time that I thought was the worst times of my life, but it was building me and molding me to the person that I am today. Like all those experiences, all those things I went through, like it was tough, man. But I knew I had a vision. I had a big vision. Like I knew I wanted to play in the league, or if not in the NFL, I knew I wanted to be successful. And then I had to tell myself, like, well, this is just my journey to get there at this time. It's not gonna last forever. And if it's the NFL or not, don't matter. But what I'm doing now, it's only temporary, so I had to fight through. And yeah, I wanted to quit. Yeah, I wanted to give up. Yeah, I wanted to come back home, but you know, I just knew it wasn't going to solve anything. And so I stayed out there, man. And we ended up winning the national championship in 2008. Then I got a scholarship to the University of Hawaii. My best friend passed going into my senior year. So then my why got even bigger. And, you know, my senior year, man, broke a record, 327 yards in the game. And, you know, we won that year, conference champions, beating Kaepernick's team when he played for Nevada, you know, stuff like that. And so, you know, just having that those downfalls and then success and then downfall success, man, this is why I can stay on this Zoom call today and share the story, because that's the stuff that built me and molded me. And I speak. The reason why I speak and go, because we all got stories. Like, you know, you, Tyler, Jason, let's say Ram and Seth, like we all got stories that I'll be like, damn, like how'd you get through that? You know what I'm saying? So that's why when I speak, it's so dope to me, because we all got a story that's like, bro, that's impactful as hell. You know, so all those experiences, yeah, they was at the time like the worst things that I thought can happen. I didn't know how I was gonna get through them, but getting through them, it's like, all right, yeah, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad. And if I can get through that, okay, I can get through this too. But hitting that drug and alcohol, man, that was the 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 pit, the rock bottom of my life. And coming out of it is the highlight of my life, because all the things I was able to accomplish that I knew I could after that. I couldn't figure out how can I do a book, or how can I get in my community? How can I do all these things and do and train and be with the kids and blah blah blah? How can I do all these things that I know I want to do? Because man, I was distracted, and my mind was clouded by all the substances that I was putting in my body. And it wasn't even just like the drugs and alcohol that make me not do things. People can drink and still go speak somewhere. But what happened was that once I got sober, that's what allowed me to figure out, okay, I have to deal with this trauma that I was carrying for so long. That's the problem. The drug and alcohol wasn't the problem. It was just my solution. The problem was me. I had to deal with me and figure me out, you know. And so once I did, man, life became beautiful, man. I could sit on the podcast with you today and talk openly and free, man. It's dope. But I couldn't do that 3 years ago. I would lie to you and say I got busy and never showed up. You know what I mean? I would have got scared and not did it because I had too much anxiety. I would have did a bunch of cocaine, Tyler, while I'm texting you saying, "Oh, I'm in traffic. Hey, my phone died." I'll be sitting here just like this, doing blow, lying to you, and I'm doing blows so I can get my anxiety out, right? So I'm able to talk because I want to talk, but I'm not. So now I'm doing blow and drinking. Well, I got more anxiety, and I would just say, you know what, the hell with it. Now I'm done. Hey, Todd, man, sorry. Next time I'll hop on. And I would do that with everybody and burn bridges with everybody, So doing stuff like this, man, is like it's small, but bro, it's a huge step from where I was at, man. So yeah, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing to overcome all that stuff and be able to talk about it. 100%.
It's unbelievable. I don't
I
even
know
know
that
where
was
to
a lot.
start. I holy, I mean, first off, thanks for being so open and transparent. I think you're gonna change lives approaching this phase of your life this way, Alex. Like it's
Yeah.
and we got into a lot a couple years ago when we chatted. I don't remember the suicide thoughts when we talked. What
Yeah.
man, when did those bubble to the surface and how did you kind of get out of that place? Because
Yeah.
I mean, you think
So
drugs, weed, cocaine, it's filling this hole without football, right? And you
yep.
hear that a lot. And some football players, ex-football players, they are pushed to that point.
Yep.
And sadly, we lose many.
Yep.
And you were pushed pretty close to that point, it sounds like.
So I always, not always, but after the NFL and once things started kind of declining, I had those ideations. And it wasn't that like I don't want to be alive. It was more so of like I don't want to deal with outside stuff that I have to deal with. Real life stuff. Like somebody says sober means son of a bitch, everything's real. I had to deal with real life stuff, right? And I think most of it came from feeling like shame and guilt. Like, I mean, so think about it this way, right? Paint this picture for you. You at your boy's house, you're having a good time, you know you're about to get drafted, you don't know when, and you get a phone call on a random day, or I say day two, we know what days, but like it's random because I thought I was gonna go the third day, the fourth through seventh rounds. They call on the second day, the second to last pick of the draft. So the night's about to end. My TV's about to come off, and you get a phone call that you just went third round, 96 to the defending Green Bay Packers. Like, like unreal, unreal. I was supposed to go fourth round to undrafted free agent, and I might go third round, maybe a long shot. And sure enough, that long shot came. Let alone being drafted at all. You go third round. So now I'm in my city where it's a big city in Portland, but the black community isn't big. So everybody know everybody. Everybody know that I got drafted, right? So that about an hour later, my life changed. Your phone's blown up, your Instagram's blown up, your Twitter, your Facebook, like everything. Everybody knows, right? Now you're a whole like everything changes on a social level, right? We can go out. Everybody want to buy you drinks. Oh, you can go work out at this building for free. Hey man, come to my store. I got some clothes for you. Like everything changes, right? Oh, my agent. Hey man, I got to rent a car until you go out there because it's like out here. I got to rent a car for you until you get out there and blah blah blah. And hey man, yeah, before you get your bonus because like I'm gonna put 20,000 in your account so you got something for the summer. Like things just change. Family changed, right? Now there's more barbecues. Oh, come over and barbecue. Let's eat. People want to take you places and like it's so go from that and then playing, right? I'm taking handoffs from Aaron Rodgers, right? I'm Lambo leaping at Lambeau Field, right? Like I'm playing with these guys. Like I'm like next to Charles Woodson. I'm having conversations on a plane with Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb was my roommate. So life is like different. You know what I'm saying? Like I was looking at Cobb like, bro, this is Cobb. This is Randall Cobb right here. He's my roommate. And we're like watching film together and studying stuff together. I'm like, bro, this is Randall Cobb though. Like you just bought out in Kentucky. Like, bro, that's Clay Matthews that I'm showering next to. You know what I'm saying? Like life is different, right? And so for me, to go from like small city, somewhat small school, taking the JUCO route, and then like small school in Hawaii where we don't know what's going on in the mainland. We just over here playing. Most of y'all sleep when our games come on, like so we don't know what's going on over there. And so besides ESPN, but like you go from that and then you go from like, bro, I feel like I can't go anywhere where anybody understands. They don't understand what I just told you. So how can I tell my boy, hey man, I'm depressed? You depressed, bro? You're in the NFL. What are you depressed for? Or man, you just play in the NFL and Lambeau League, Aaron Rodgers. How can you be depressed? I gotta go to this damn warehouse job with a shitty boss. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my bills is due tomorrow and I can't afford it. Like, and you're complaining. So I didn't say anything to nobody. I had to keep it all in because who am I gonna complain to? Who will understand? And that led to me like having the ideations of like, man, I don't want to be here. I feel alone. Nobody gonna get like the experiences that I just had. Like I should even still be there. There's some guys that I played with, like Von Miller was still playing, Cobb still playing. Like I think Cam came back and still played. There was things going on. Like, bro, I came out with these dudes and they're still playing. Or other guys got like big businesses or properties and they flying jets and got their family taking them places. I'm like, bruh, like, what am I doing wrong? You know what I mean? Like, what happened? And so for me, it was like that comparison, which is the thief of all joy. And then it was me trying to figure out what to do next. And there's nothing that I wanted to do besides football, like most other people. So now you got the identity crisis. Well, when I step outside, everybody loves me, but I'm not making no money. I'm not with my kids. I'm not doing anything worthy of mentioning besides the fact that I played and I'm not playing no more. So there's no fulfillment. And the city that I'm in is like once you're up, you're up. And when you down, we know you down. And so I wouldn't even be around people. I was just trying to isolate and I would do the social media thing where I would post that everything was cool and great. And I would post highlight stuff and blah 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 to paint the picture nice. Bro, I was miserable. And so there was one day, Tyler, where I got in my car, that same day I'm talking about before I called my program manager. And the reason why I called her, actually I texted her and I said I need help. And I only texted. What's funny is that I was just looking at this text the other day. Let's see if I can put it on the screen. But I texted her and I said, I need help. And I was only saying it because I wanted to die. And before I died, I wanted to make sure I reached out to somebody. And so I reached out to her and I said, I need help. No lie. I'm going to show you real quick. I don't know if you can see it on there, but at the top, I don't know if it'll show,
It's
but
blurring a little bit.
it's
What does it
blurred.
say?
Okay. So it says, I need help. And that was November 8th of 2021. And it said, I need help. And if you can see it, it was green. It's a green message. It's not iPhone. And so back then, their phones was connected to the office phone. So I thought I was texting her office phone to just pretend that I'm texting somebody asking for help. Well, she ended up calling back and saying, "Hey, I got your message. What's going on?" I'm like, "What the hell? How you get my message through an office phone?" Well, over the years, technology, they switched it up where she can get messages. And so she called back and she asked me what's going on, and I cried and cried and cried. And I said, "Look, I'm ready to die right now. Like I'm about to OD. I want to OD. I'm about to kill myself. Something." I had like a fifth of a Maker's Mark because that was my drink. Right. I had a big mountain of cocaine. I mean, a big mountain of cocaine, and I had unlimited weed. I had so much weed, and I was like, I'm gonna do all this cocaine. I'm gonna drink this whole bottle and more, and I'm gonna smoke all this weed until something happens. I'm gonna try to just take myself out somehow, or I'm gonna off myself. It's like something's gonna happen, but I don't want to be here anymore. And so, and again, those feelings of just feeling hopelessness and not feeling like I could talk to people in the community. I was too embarrassed to ask for help because I already done showed everybody on social media that my life was so great. So who can I ask for help? And so, which is why I reached out to her. And so yeah, man, she talked me out of it for about an hour, hour and a half. And it was like 8 o'clock at night, my time on West Coast, and 11 o'clock East Coast time. And she got up, man, and I even heard her baby crying in the background. She told me to hold on for about 10 minutes while she put her baby back down or fed him or whatever it was, and got back on the phone with me, listened to me sob and cry and complain and, just kind of cry out for help. And she told me go to the airport, and I was like, I can't, I gotta figure stuff out. I was still like in denial. And then the next couple of days, man, November 10th, I went to the airport and checked in and woke up November 11th, sober. So that was like my sober date is November 11th of 21. And it's still, I'm 2 years and some change in. But yeah, those ideations came from just feeling hopelessness, man. Just feeling like, bro. And I was thinking to myself till I was like, how the hell did I go third round, 96 overall to the Green Bay Packers after all the things that I've been through to get there, to end up back at home in my car with drugs and alcohol ready to die. And man, I couldn't fathom why I was in my car feeling this way after I went third round 96 overall. I kept asking myself, how you go third round 96 overall? and you doing this. And I was just watching people walk by and, the homelessness go by. And I'm like, bro, what am I doing? Like, I was just Lambo leaping a few years ago. I just caught a Jenny Manziel's first touchdown pass. Like, we just won championships and I got rings, to prove it. Like, how am I here doing this? So that's what kind of led to those ideations, man, of feeling suicidal. Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow. I mean, you're staring at a mountain of
Yeah.
blow, like you said. It's right there. You're that
Yeah.
close. And it
Yeah.
was a conversation, and it's not a flip of a switch, a snap of a finger. You were talking for an hour and a half
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
got to a place. I mean, you had to work at it. It's
I
probably
had
you're
to
probably
work at
still
it.
working at it.
Yeah, no, I had to work at it in that moment, and like she gave me she gave me a solution to a problem, and I still was in denial. And she gave me options, and I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't do this. She's like, well, look, you can go somewhere close. Because then she said go to Florida. I'm like, nah, I can't go to that one. It's too far from home. It's like, well, you can go to one in I think it was Colorado or New Mexico. And I was like, nah, I don't want to go down there. Just giving all these excuses to not do it, right? And she was like, look, make it like this is what you're going to do. I'm done giving you options. You're going to the airport. You're going to treatment. You're going to get help. And I was like, once she got like in mom mode, I was like, okay. At that point, I'm like, all right, okay, I'm gonna do it because it was like either do that or die, and I was too afraid to like shoot myself or cut myself. I don't think I really wanted to die. Like I said, I just didn't want to deal with that stuff. I didn't want to deal with being ashamed to talk to people because I didn't want them to know what I really was doing or going through. So I wouldn't let people get close to me, so nobody knew who I was, right? And I didn't want to hang out certain places too long or let you know where I lived or, if we go to a restaurant to go eat in about 15 minutes, I'm going to the bathroom and, I'll come back and I'll make an excuse and I'll probably leave because my social anxiety is too bad, right? Like it was bad. It was getting bad, man. And I knew that's not who I was. I'm not extroverted, but I'm not just closed off like that either. And I knew like I had to figure something out, man. And so once she said that you are going, it was like there was no other option. Like I had to go, or else like I probably wouldn't have been here today to talk about it. Either did something dumb to get me in jail, die, or been out here bugged out of my mind talking to myself and fighting the air in these streets. Like who knows? Especially nowadays with lace, fitting all lace and all that stuff. Like who knows what would have happened? So that step, man, I tell her all the time, like, man, you saved my life. She always say, no, you did. Well, I'm like, well, you sparked the flame, to help it. And I just added wood to that fire, but you definitely lit the fire first. Yeah.
Thank God.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle, right? Like
It is.
and it's just true story. I never asked anybody else for help but her, and I only did it thinking that it was an office phone. It was just my excuse. Like I made so many excuses in the past, just my excuse to say, "Oh, I asked somebody for help. Nobody reached out." But bruh, she reached out because they over the years changed the office phone was connected to her cell phone, and I mean, just and now look. So just yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy, man. Talking about it still blow me away.
Yeah. It's it
Man,
was she was meant to hear that and be present in that moment completely. I know Seth, Ram, Brian, by the way, I just connected those dots in New Hampshire and JB. I'm sure you guys got some questions for Alex here. So that was unbelievably inspiring. And thanks so much, Alex. But yeah, whoever wants to go.
yeah, for sure.
So when you got out of your treatment, was it tough? You had those people you were hanging out with. Was it tough, like, okay, pushing those people out of your life and not hanging out with that group of people?
Yeah, it was, man. It was. Cause when you're in a bad place and when you feel like when somebody allows you to be in that bad place, even though if it's hurting you, when they kind of let you hurt yourself or they're hurting themselves with you, like you built that connection. That's a trauma bond in a sense. And so I gained like love to them for that. Like, man, I love you, man. Like, because you're watching this train wreck happen and you know that I'm trying to get out of it. But instead of giving me advice that I don't want to hear, you're just going in with me. And that was a sense of like back then, like, man, that's what love looked like, man. Like we'll just go down and just train together as opposed to like have an accountability partner. So that group, the one who would go with me, it was hard to let them go because it was like, man, y'all real for that, because like, man, y'all let me be in that space and y'all didn't judge me. You didn't, tell me I'm doing something wrong or like, hey, man, like you better than that. You let me go down that rabbit hole. And so I gained some respect for that. So it was hard to let that go. When I was leaving treatment, Ram, I was there for 45 days. On the 43rd day, I was getting out in 2 days. They told me, I was like, okay, I'm going back home to Portland. And they asked me my plan for my outtake. And I said, yeah, I'm going back to Portland and X, Y, and Z. I'm going to start doing this and that. And they said, no, you're not going to Portland. You can go anywhere else but Portland. We'll send you somewhere else and we'll pay for it for 6 months, but you're not going to Portland. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, no, you can live anywhere else. And I'm like, they said if you really have to go, like we can't force you not to, but we highly suggest you're not going. So where else do you want to go? And I was like, my mind was still, I'm only 45 days out. My mind was still, well, let me go to Vegas, let me go to Miami. Like, I'm still trying to go somewhere fun. And I said, you know what? At that time, my daughter had moved to Houston, just about a year before that. And I said, well, send me to Houston. I'll go to Houston so I can go see my daughter. And they sent me to Houston, and that's when things started going. So it helped more, Ram, that I wasn't like around them. I was forced to be away from them, because I wasn't even in the state. And so the ones who did that I did, like my brothers to this day who are doing stuff with, they support me. They're the ones who they won't like drink around me. I have to tell them like, bro, you can drink around me, just don't offer it to me because I might say yeah back then, but like y'all could be around me and stuff and do what you do. Like that's your life. And so, but they respect what I do. But initially it was hard because I still wanted to have fun and kind of be a part of that lifestyle. And I still struggle with some stuff. I still struggle with, doing things like they want to go. I had went to see my boys music show the other night that he performed. I went there and we all at the in the club, we got a table and there's bottles everywhere. And like it was hard. I don't want to drink no more, but it was hard to be in that environment. Like all the girls around and the loud music and it's fun and dancing. It was hard to not stay in there and hang out afterwards to an after party. Like that was still hard. Like I still struggle. And like luckily for me, like me and my girl, we saw his show and then we left. And luckily it was a Thursday where we had to get up the next day to handle business. But stuff like that, yeah, it still get tough, man. But I just tell myself like, and I make it real, real extreme. And I say like, this is life or death for me. Cause like if I take one shot, I'm gonna want 2 shots. If I get 2, I'm gonna want 3. Now I'm gonna smoke. Now I'm gonna want cocaine. We back to square one. After I get that one hit of cocaine, it's over with. It's over. And I know I'm gonna want cocaine after I drink. So I don't even mess with it. I don't even try to play nothing. I say, man, if I do cocaine, I'm gonna die. Just straight up. I just keep it like that for me because it might not, like I might not die, but eventually, like me knowing me, I'm still an addict. I'm gonna die, and so I just kind of keep myself. I tell my girl all the time, like I don't want to like have to say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go to a bar, but I ain't gonna drink. Like I don't want to have to fight that battle. I just won't go to that bar. So I ain't gotta fight that battle. So a lot of things, man, I just don't put myself in those situations no more. So that I ain't gotta fight as hard to not do it. I just won't go. Yeah. Still have fun. I'm still lit and turned up, like I'm still like crazy in me, but I just don't do that, But yeah. And obviously in the beginning it was harder. Now it's like, being 2.5 years in, it's a little easier. I still struggle sometimes. New Year's and Christmas, Thanksgiving, it's still like, oh, you want to party? But, I know how to modify it now. Early on, man, it was tough. It was like, I just can't see y'all, be around y'all. And now I see why they said don't go home. If I would have went home first, I probably would have relapsed a long time ago. Yeah, that's a good question, though, Ram. Great question.
Man, no kidding. I wouldn't even think about that. Thanks for asking that, Ram. Like there's weeks after the fact where you're battling this and trying to fend off
Mhm.
those demons, and you really got to know yourself and that addictedness within. Man,
Mhm.
Jason, Seth, anything that you guys have for Alex here?
One question I would ask is, what advice would you give to the 2024 rookies who are coming into the league based on all that you've been through in your life?
That's good. That's good. Top of my head, I haven't got asked that question. I love that question because we always talk about like, oh, what I would do, but what advice would I give them? I would give them one to invest themselves into the team, right? Into like their into the organization. That's what I'm looking for, into the organization. What I mean by that is like get to know the trainers, hang out in the training room, right? Get your treatment, hang out with the equipment staff, get to know those guys, right? The community outreach people, obviously the players, but just everybody from the owner to the last person who leaves, the janitor, be invested into the organization, because what that'll do is now you're going to build your own environment of family, and then it's more comfortable. Once you're comfortable, any athlete that's comfortable is going to ball out. They're going to be a great athlete. Once you're relaxed and you don't got to worry about messing up in front of nobody, now you're just playing the game you love and enjoying it. Now it's fun and you're comfortable, right? And so creating that environment of comfort, I think, is important for athletes. And if you look at all the good athletes, a lot of those guys are in tune with the organization. They're invested into the organization. They don't just go to practice, film, eat, and then they go home. Those ones usually don't last long. That's what I used to do. The ones who like, and Tyler know because he's been in the locker rooms, like the ones who, like the great ones, the Donald Drivers, Aaron Rodgers, Charles, and those guys know the training staff, they know the equipment staff, they know the community outreach, they know who runs operations, who know the video guy, the camera guys, they know who's cleaning the bathrooms at night. They invested into the organization. And so that's the first thing I would say. And then the next thing I would say, man, is learn the power and the art of saying no and being selfish. A lot of times we put a lot on our shoulders and we feel obligated to have to take care of people. But it's like, look, take care of yourself first, fill your cup first, and then give out what you have for the capacity that you have. Because in reality, you have a lot on your shoulders, and everybody doesn't, like, you can't give everything to everybody. And so I know a lot of times rookies that come in, you feel, oh, I made it, and everybody got their hand out and they want. And some people might deserve it or, looked out for you to get you to that spot. That's fair. But like somebody told me as a rookie, they said, if it's not your moms or your loved ones that's super close to you, man, they can wait until you have the capacity to do it. And so I would give them that advice too, just to kind of, wait until you start to build and make sure your cup is filled first. Then the last thing is just have fun because it's short, right? Like I was telling Tyler when I was talking a second ago, man, I look at the film on YouTube and watch some games, and I'm like, bro, that was really me out there playing. It was that, like, it was quick, like sometimes it felt like a real dream. Like, did I really play? I'll Google my name sometimes, like, did I really play? Like, or am I tripping? Like, did I just get hit in my head real hard in college and think I went to the league? Like, or does it really happen? It really happened. And it was that quick that sometimes it felt like a dream. And so I would say, just to enjoy the moments, man. Don't think about like, oh, my contract or next year. Or, man, enjoy just being in the locker room. Enjoy the hot tub, the cold tub, the free food. Enjoy the flights, the trips, playing dice in the locker room. Like going to practice with the greats. Like enjoy that. Enjoy the little stuff. Yeah, no question. Great question though. Yeah, I never got asked that one.
Have the Packers asked you to speak to the team in any capacity? I think you did the tailgate tour recently. I mean, this is such a powerful message for guys coming in the league. That's referenced.
No, yeah. So I went out there in last December, and I went for the alumni appearance. Me and Paris Lennon went out and we signed autographs one night. And so when we watching the game, we was in a suite. And so I'm big on like networking now and getting out there and the power of relationships, right? And so when I'm in the suite, I'm networking and other guys are enjoying the game. I'm like, yo, I want to connect with somebody. So I got up and got some food. And I saw Kafti. And so me and her connected, and I told her what I do with the speaking, and she was like, you know what? You'll be perfect to come out on a tailgate tour, and we'll have you be the one that speaks for the high schools that we go to and middle schools, and you could be one of the main speakers to get them hyped up and motivated, because that's what I do for a living anyway. And so I made that connection, and that's what led to me going to the Packer tour. And she didn't ask me to come speak to the team, but they did ask me to come back and do some work with them with helping the community be more involved with flag football and helping the girls get more involved with flag football, and just being like one of those extra community outreach guys, to talk to the kids and get them more involved in sports and, like play 60 and whatnot. So we're going to make the connection soon. I actually just texted her a couple of days ago. And so, once things kind of like right before like training camp, once things started to before it started getting season ready for season, I'm gonna talk to her and see how I can do some work with him to get out there. But it all came back full circle, man. It was crazy. Yeah, talking to Mark Murphy, me and him sat across from each other every day at dinner on a tailgate tour, and talking to Kenny Clark and Elton Jenkins and Rasheed Walker, and then obviously Brian Balaga was on there and Mike Daniels. Like, it was awesome, man. Like, it was great to be back in that space with a clear mind without like, because last time I went on the tailgate tour, I still had the anxiety with me, Cobb and Bush, and Santana Dotson was there, and I was kind of like shy and not really, not really there. This time I was like, engaging and talking and asking questions and being me. So yeah, definitely full circle moment. But I'm gonna do some work with him soon.
I was gonna say that's a crew right there, man. I would listen to you and Mike Daniels putting a podcast together or something. That would be a dynamic duo if there ever was one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Mike Daniels, we went to a place and they was like talking, and Mike Daniels just went straight dad mode, and he was like, "Hey, I need y'all to be quiet. I won't talk no more unless y'all quiet." Like, it was great, man. I'm more of a like, "Yo, what's up? Let's get it popping in here." I'm getting more excited, but he came into a straight dad mode, and like you could hear a pin drop, and the teachers were like, "Thank you," you know. Yeah, so he's awesome, man. We should get a podcast soon. He wanted me to come talk to his team, to his football team, and then uh Clark, he wanted me to do some stuff with him because he want to start,
yeah.
getting out more and seeing how to do stuff. So I'm like, yeah, man, that's what the OGs do. We once we get there, we go back and grab one and show from our experiences of how we did it. So yeah, man, it's good stuff, man.
Jason, what you got?
That so I was just thinking of a couple of things. One of the things that's really been, hidden in my head for a little bit, and really I feel like Alex, I feel like I'm hearing in your story a lot, is that a lot of times we let our pride stand in the way of our joy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we
Mm-hmm.
we know what we really want to do, but for whatever multiple reasons, but we just feel like it's admitting too much sometimes for us to actually say, okay, I'm gonna step out and actually do it.
Yeah,
And so thanks for sharing your story. It's beautiful,
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Thank you,
Um,
thank you.
and I was, before Tyler jumped in about the tailgate tour, I was thinking like that had to have been a full circle moment for you of just like, yeah, this is what I came here for to begin with, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But it, I feel like when we hear these stories, there's not that the league has a responsibility to, but this is almost like more important than all the CTE stuff that we talk about, because
Mm.
you really look at how many players when they finish their career, like they don't know what to do, and
Right.
they stumble into things like this. I mean, what are your thoughts on this about what the league should do there?
Yeah, I think being more aware of what the players actually go through, and
Yeah.
the way that you do that is by meeting them where they at, because they all come from different, like, if you come from a certain environment, you're only 20, 21, 22, 23, you're super young, and you get handed a bunch of money to live a childhood dream, and you're put in positions and situations that you just haven't prepared for yet. And so that does something to you. Like, my perspective on life is based on my experience in the NFL. And it wasn't me playing under the lights on Sunday. It was from everything else that happened, right? It was from how people treat you. When I go places now, Jason, like, even like before, like I go out somewhere and I talk to somebody about an hour or 30 minutes or so, and they say, "How come you didn't tell me you play for the Packers or play in the NFL?" And I said, because like then it'll switch up, like it'll switch, like the energy will switch. I want to see if you really actually like me or not. You know what I mean? Before that, I want to see how you really feel about me before you know anything about me. And I'm not saying that all until a few weeks later, if I get to know you that long. But that does something to your mental, man. I think the league can just do better at just kind of, even if it's bringing people in, having training sessions. I know we had some stuff with our rookie success program where they gave us things of like how to say no and managing emotions and managing relationships. And they had a financial literacy paragraph on just what to do and the psychology of money and where it comes from. But having people come in doing real life things like workshops or just character building and personal development and showing us how to be not only just like great athletes, because we say all the time, oh yeah, you're a professional athlete. Well, a real professional is working 16 hours, 14, 16 hours a day. In the NFL, we're working like 8, 9. Like we got a lot of free time to be called a professional. And a coach for the Jets told me that. And so I think just having our minds like of how to be like how to talk to people and have great character, and yes and no and please and thank you, the little stuff. Because again, some of my kids from a certain environment who play football their whole life, we haven't done a lot of real life, haven't had a lot of real life experiences. We haven't sat down for a job interview. We haven't had a chance to work these jobs that we don't like. We gotta deal with our boss anyway. We got an a-hole for a coworker that I have to work with every single day just to pay these bills. Like we haven't had that experience yet. And so I think that once you get out of it, it's like, oh crap, what do I do? Well, you're a grown man now. You're expected to know. So I think just having more of those personal development, like building that and having more character development and character building workshops or however they want to do it, just for us to know how to even be like honestly how to be men and be humans outside of football. Because we're gonna live life more than we're gonna play football. And so I think they could do a better job of that. I know the CTE, and they have their awareness stuff going on and a lot of tests and studies. But how much can you do while the person is alive? I can only study the brain when the brain is already done. Well, it's too late. I don't need your help no more. I'm already dead. I need help now while I'm alive, right? And so I think just having the more awareness, man, and just kind of meeting us where we at, or meeting the players where they at. Like I would love to do some work with them. I talked to Kathy about that. I would love to do some work with the rookies, just character development and personal development and building. Good
To that point,
question.
there's this big light switch that happens when you step off that field for that last time of everything since what, ninth grade for most of these kids, if not earlier, has been what can you do on that field over and over and over and over and over and over again. That's all anybody cares about in your seemingly your whole life. And all of a sudden it's no. That's not it. You are as a person and what you can do as a person, it's so different. We
Yeah.
we lived in the Portland area for quite a while,
Okay.
and I know what you're saying. Like it's an interesting area because there's a very large minority community, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
very welcoming community in a lot of ways. But you're right, the amount of blacks in that area is really small, and I'm sure it's a very very much more tight knit community than a lot of, like, I'm in Cincinnati now, and it's a much larger community there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, but so I can imagine how going back every day, you're like, okay, yeah, same people, same things. They
Yeah.
they don't know, they haven't taken that journey of changing that light switch like you just did when you stepped off the field. And
Yeah.
now what do you do? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what car I drive, where I live, what neighborhood, like, oh, what is he doing now? And it's like, I'm just chilling, but it's like, oh, then it goes from like, well, I want to keep up with that because then, oh, he fell off or he just start feeling judged. And that was the insecurities in me, right? But like, it gets hard if you're not in tune with yourself. I'll put it that way. If you're like me, because I'm a people pleaser, it gets very hard to live up to a lifestyle that you can't live up to, but expected of you from your community, from society. Because I never addressed it, but now like people know, like okay, like he's pretty good, and he's still gonna drive a Hyundai, no matter how much he just made. Like he know who he is, right? And that's more respected than trying to show out and be flashy when you really don't got it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like you said, that mindset shift, man, and I think one of the things, like if you put it, and you have made a great point about like, well, you got all these things leading up from high school to college and NFL, and haven't really been told no. That's a great point. Like I've had it people, we used to travel so much. I went to school in Hawaii. We traveled so much. There would be academic advisors that did work for me. I ain't told a lot of people this. They did their work for me, right? And it wasn't because had dyslexia. It wasn't because like I was just super cool. It was because I was balling out on the field for Hawaii. And they wanted me to have the least amount of stress on me besides football as possible. And that's just reality. So the guys who's at Florida, Alabama, or these big schools, I mean, I can imagine, but that's the reality. And so once you get that entitlement and you get used to that entitlement, once it gets taken from you, once that thing that gave you entitlement gets took, it's like, well, you're not entitled no more, brother. You gotta wait in line like everybody else. You gotta put the work in like everybody else, and it's hard to accept that reality, and that's the issue, and that's where it becomes like, I don't want to be out here, like, damn, I ain't got this luxury no more. I ain't got this privilege no more. Well, no, you don't. That's the reality. And that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow for somebody who created a lifestyle of that for like 10, 15 years, So that's the hard part. That's the push and pull with that transition from the NFL. Even when they get in, like it's hard to, when you always got told, yes, yeah, you get a certain ego, you get a certain attitude, you get a certain chip when, a little swag to you that you wouldn't have if you never had that little entitlement. So yeah, man, it get real. It get real. Definitely. And you get used to it. Like you get a kid who grew up broke, broke my whole life. This football was saving my family and everybody's treating me different. Yeah, I'm gonna get used to this. I like this. It's a lot of trauma stuff too involved. Like a lot of insecurities growing up. Now all of a sudden y'all like me. Now all of a sudden I can get girls. Oh, now all of a sudden I can go to this place. I can go to this place before. Now I can. Now y'all want me. Now my DMs is blowing up. Bro, that do something. That's a stimulant. That is a light that goes off in your brain and your reward system gets hit constantly, constantly, constantly. You're getting dopamine filled and filled and filled and filled. And now it becomes an addiction. And attention is the worst drug, man. That's the worst addiction to have is attention. And we get addicted to the attention and the love. Love that we probably never had before or at home. We insecure, which is why guys play football or they strong or they got a lot of pain. So they put that pain. Most people on defense who hit hard as hell had some type of, they probably got embarrassed, they probably got talked about or something, and they want to make sure you feel this pain and they're going to go hard as hell to make this come true. But once they do, they still that little boy who's insecure and embarrassed. Now they're getting the love and the attention though. So now you see this confident person, man, when they go home, they're still that kid. They're still that person if you haven't dealt with it. So to your point, yeah, man, like it's deep. It's deep. But yeah, once you get that attention and that love, man, it get hard to let it go. It's hard to let it go. Great question.
80,000 in a stadium, right? Everybody at home. You're
Listen.
surrounded by yes men, yes women. So you take that away, that naturally you're going to be in a pretty dark place.
You're going to be in a dark place. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, things wouldn't excite me for a long time because how can you mimic an excitement of 75, 100,000 people screaming before kickoff, and I'm about to run down and run my head into a wall, and I'm on Adderall, Red Bull, 5-hour energy drink, adrenaline, painkillers, and I just bang my head against the defensive lineman just to get kind of woke up a little bit. How can you mimic that excitement and that adrenaline with anything else? And so a lot of people get depressed. Nothing excites them no more. Nothing is interesting. Like, how can you mimic that? Like, and so I have to do a lot of soul searching, man, and like stop and smell the roses to appreciate the small things again. But it's hard, man. It's hard.
So you have those reasons to get up in the morning. You have those sources of happiness, clearly. But how is life today? We should just go there.
Oh yeah, man. Like life is good, man. Like I'm in Portland, but I work in Vancouver, which is just over the bridge. I don't know where you guys live, but like a 15, 20-minute commute. Jason, you lived in Portland, so
Yeah, I used to work right by the Expo Center. Yeah,
Okay. Yep. Yep.
yeah, years
Yep.
ago. But yeah,
Right
yeah,
by the, yeah,
yeah,
you're thinking about a bridge. Yep.
yep.
So I'm crossing that bridge every day to go to Vancouver. I'm doing mentorship work at Hudson Bay High School, and so that's my day, my 5 day a week. But then they understand that I might get called in a second and say, hey, can you come out here to Texas or Florida or California or Washington or Wisconsin to come to a speaking event or speak to the kids or come speak at our event. I'm going to Wisconsin June 11th through the 15th, and then I'm back the 17th, and then I'm out there again on the 18th for an event. So stuff like that. But you know, I got the kids, I got my lady, we in a nice house. I got my Hyundai out there, like life is actually pretty good, man. And it's like hopeful because like what I'm doing now, like I want to see how far I can take it, right? Like I still mumble, I still stutter, I still don't enunciate all my words. So I want to get like a speaker coach and do things and cause like my passion, my transparency and my energy, like that's what people want to see anyway. But I'm hopeful because it's like, okay, now I'm back in that realm of life where I can still get better. I watch my speaking videos like I watch my film in football and see, okay, my hand mannerisms and okay, when I said that I make my point. Like I take notes like I'm watching film on myself the same way. Right. And so I love that part of it. I love that it's like football. And I still get nervous before I go on stage and speak like I did before a game. And then when I'm done speaking, I'm like, let's go. Just like in a football game. So I love that I'm like back in that like realm of doing something that I love and I can get better and grow from it. And I'm not that good at it yet. I love that whole piece. So life is like, okay, good, it's hopeful. And then it's being with the kids, obviously, man, and having the mindset that I have now of opportunist. My lady got released, she's a chef. She got released from her job the other day. And I said, congratulations. And she was all pissed off at me. And she said, why you say that? I said, because now you can start your own business. And sure enough, she started her own business and thriving at it. But just having a mindset that I have of being optimistic and hopeful, man, but still not being like super irresponsible with my decision making and moving off emotion. I want to be rational. I want to be grounded, like, and just have that life balance. And it's still a struggle, but I'm not like dependent on drugs and alcohol. I'm not dependent on attention. I love who I am. I love my flaws. I love my family and their flaws. I love that life isn't perfect. I love that my car still breaks down every now and again. I love that there's bills due and I hate paying bills. But it's like, I don't have to, I get to. I get to do this. Because at one point where, bro, I probably didn't have that choice. So I love where I'm at, man. I can hop on with y'all and talk some stories and share influence, man. Like, and it just feels good. It feels good. So life is pretty good. Mother's Day, was yesterday. I got this cake in the fridge from my mom, and like stuff still happens. So I couldn't make it yesterday. So I gotta bring her the cake today. Life is still life, but we make it happen. So life is good, man. Everybody's happy, healthy, and just trying to get better, and that's all that matters. The scoreboard, I don't even care about the scoreboard no more. Like as long as we trying to get better and we gonna play the game as hard as we can, that's a win in my book. And like the household follows that. It let me lead that. And so it feels good to be in that position. Definitely, man.
Well, it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the points that we caught up, from 2011 to 12 and 13 when you're in Green Bay, maybe a couple times post Green Bay, and then I mean, you're like you just said, you're not responding to anybody for X number of years. But
Yeah.
in January of 2022 to now, you just seem to be living with so much authenticity,
Yeah.
conviction, purpose. It comes from a place of confidence. It's you know
Yeah.
what I mean. It just seems like you're a
Yeah.
confident human being who who walks life with a purpose.
Yeah.
Like every word that you speak here, I mean, it has a purpose. You're making so many unbelievable points that are just going to inspire and help everybody listening. But you
Yeah.
got to just get your confidence through the roof right now.
It's so funny to me when people say like, "Oh, you seem confident." Like I still doubt myself to this day. I still question myself to this day. But I think to your point, I think that just comes from like you said, like knowing who I am, right? Having that conviction of knowing like who you are and being okay that you even doubt yourself. That's the confidence I think that I have. It's just being okay with it. And I do. Like, I thrive. I told my mom, like, man, I'm sorry I didn't come on Mother's Day. Like that was shitty. Like, but I'll be there today to give you a cake. Like I still have things and stuff still happens, man, but I'm able to take them now. And I told a kid the other day, he's like, man, is it bad to be to have emotions? Cause I'm a boy. I said, nah, like you're a human. You can have emotions. I said, but it's just like what you do with the emotion. Like how do you react to it? I think that's the difference. You have a choice. You can act out or you can look at it for what it is. And I gave him an example about like if my phone break, I'd be like, damn, my phone broke. I ain't got my Instagram password remembered. I gotta email this guy back because I gotta figure out I gotta interview, I got a Zoom meeting with Tyler. I gotta hop on, like, dang. But reality is, if I take the emotion out, only thing that happened is that my phone just broke. I can go get another phone real quick, and it's all good. But I could sit here and I could be, oh man, my phone, man, and a whole week could go by of me, because I'm a super emotional guy. My phone will break, and I'll be a week will go by, and I'm still pissed off. Oh, don't call me, my phone's broke. I ain't got my phone. I can't call nobody, and be all bitter and blaming everybody else. I can get this fixed in 2 hours, and I'm back because guess what's going to happen after that week? After I'm emotional, I'm gonna go back and go get another phone again. So instead of missing my week, let me just get my 2 hours and get a new phone, and then I'm back to business. So I try to take the emotion out of stuff, man, and just look at life for what it is. And like, okay, that happened, that sucks, but it just happened. It's no big deal. I'll just keep moving and catch up with time and go fix it. If it's fixable. So yeah.
Worse
But yeah,
to
the
follow.
confidence.
Forget football, right? Like everybody's lives. Man, illuminating, inspiring, chilling, Alex. This was phenomenal. I can't thank you enough for resharing,
No, good question.
the dark days, but most importantly, how in the hell you got out of that place. So I don't want
Yeah.
to cut you short. If anybody else has questions for Alex, I mean, that was unbelievable. So thank you. Well, man, anytime you want to talk, we didn't even get into the Packers of today. I'm sure you've got thoughts, but you're always welcome back, Alex. Really appreciate you, man.
Hey,
Thanks so
right
much
on.
for coming
Hey,
out
hey,
time.
hey, if you got time, Tyler, we could do some quick Packer questions. If I got some questions,
Hey,
some quick
let's hear
ones.
it. What do you
I'm
think?
down.
How's this team looking to you? I mean, it's
Bro,
the
first of
window is
all,
open, right? We're very Jordan Love friendly to the extreme operation here at Go Long. What are your thoughts on this
Josh
quarterback and this
Jacobs
team?
has to show up. He has to. Josh Jacobs have to show up. I love Jordan Love. Like he's gonna ball, but he can't ball by himself. Like he just can't. Josh Jacobs got to show up. If he shows up, they're gonna be great. If Josh be Josh, put it that way, they gonna be great, man. And Jordan, because he gonna be calm, cool, and collected, and he gonna do what he has to do to win, but he needs support. And they got Reed, he gonna do his thing. Watson gonna do his thing. These guys is gonna ball out. You got two tight ends who both rookies that's coming back who ballers. They're gonna come back. The offensive line upgraded. Man, they're gonna be straight. But the running back group, AJ Dillon included, they gotta show up. And they got a back from USC. I forget his name, but
Marshawn Lloyd.
I seen his tape. He might be something too. He got a little something to him. He got a little savviness and a little dog in him that I like. So yeah, I want to see young boy do his thing too. But Josh coming to be Josh, man, they're gonna be all right. They're gonna be all right. And the defense is like, okay, we just needed some safeties. We got some safeties. Okay. Defensive line gonna do their thing. You got Walker back there. You got some guys in the linebacker room who gonna handle business. Get the secondary right. We all ain't no secret. We all know. Get the secondary right and we rocking.
I mean, I
What you
get
think
it.
about him?
Aaron Jones, stud, human being,
Yeah.
professional football player, beloved in the locker room, outside the locker room. Green Bay, as you know, not afraid to make hard decisions. Josh Jacobs, 3.5 years younger. He's kind of yo-yoed between, being the best back or one of the best backs in the league. And last year's offensive line for Vegas was rough.
Mhm.
He didn't play as well. So I get it, man. I thought it was a great move. And it's a hard decision to make because of everything Aaron Jones means, but hasn't really been able to stay healthy too. So that's something you probably know about Green Bay, whether it's Brian Gutekunst back to Ted Thompson, unafraid to make, football decisions and strip the
Right.
emotion from those decisions.
Yep. 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 And That's the sign of a true businessman.
I mean, you're
No,
sitting there draft day watching this team draft Eddie Lacy and Jonathan Franklin, thinking, "Oh man, here we go. I'm finally
oh,
healthy." I mean, you
oh my
started in OTAs
God.
that spring, and you're feeling better, but you probably had to know my days are numbered in Green Bay.
I just I think I just followed Eddie Eddie on Instagram and he followed me back. I think we just now or I just now got cool with okay, I can be friends with you. I held on to that for so long. For so long, man. Like I don't know if he even know. I was just like, cause it was I was watching it with it was me and Dewan Harris.
Yeah.
We was watching the draft together. And we like, ain't no way they're gonna draft a running back that high because when they had me, they had the one, and we still had Starks. And second round comes, oh, Green Bay Packers select running back Eddie Lacy, Alabama. We're like, oh my, ain't no way. Like, so we look at each other like, it's gonna be me or you, you know, like, all right. So we're like, all right, whatever. We got over it. Third round go by. Okay, you know, fourth round come. They picked up somebody and got another fourth round pick. Running Green Bay Packers take running back Jonathan Franklin, UCLA. I'm like, two? Two running backs in the same draft? No way. So now we like he got up and took a drink. Dewan got up and like he couldn't even talk. He got up and took a drink. I think I was like this, like just like in shock, man. I couldn't believe it. And like, yeah, I just went home. I was like, bro, I'll see you tomorrow in the weight room, first thing in the morning. Like, we got some work to do, you know. And yeah, it was crazy, man. And I think the worst part of that is the next day, everybody watch it, just the tension in the locker room, and like it's like, oh, like, uh-oh, like everybody knows, and you just gotta play like like okay, like I know my days is numbered at some point. Somebody's days is numbered, and then like the media outlet is blowing it up, and yeah, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was crazy. It haunted me for a long time. You brought back some trauma.
My apologies, Alex. My apologies. It's not what we want to do an hour and a half into this. You got the ceremonial nod in OTAs, though. If I remember correctly, you were starting in shorts.
Yep.
And at that time, Eddie, there was that unflattering photo that made the rounds, right? Everybody's
Yep.
wondering, is this running back from Alabama, eating mom's home cooking a little too much
Yep.
here?
Yep.
And James, he had his injuries he was dealing with. Dewan he was a beast at the end of that year prior,
Yeah. Yes,
in
he
San
was.
Francisco. Remember him having a good game there,
Yep.
tough as
Yep.
hell. So I could see you could see a lane, and then reality hits you. They drafted these players very high for a reason.
Yep.
It's crazy, the crime of it. It's like, yeah, defenses were playing to you in those two high shells the year prior, like begging you to run the football, and you had some success, but you were what, 60%, 65, 70%? Like, you're not able to
Yeah.
unleash everything you can
I
against those
wasn't
looks
able to
either.
unleash. I wasn't able to unleash. I had like flashes. For instance, the Colts game when said Benson went down.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, said Benson when he went down. The Detroit game was decent. My first nod at starting was against the Houston Texans. At that time, it was 5-0, and that's what won McCarthy over because we beat a 5-0, defense team. Had a good defense with JJ Watt, and I had an okay game. I had some good runs here and there, and I showed, okay, I can probably handle a big workload. The problem was, one, I wasn't healthy, and two, I wasn't invested. I wasn't invested, so I wasn't getting the treatment as much as I should, like I should, because I was injured. Like I was super immature. I was young, right? Like I should have been doing OD of doing treatment. I should have been in there all the time, morning, right after practice, go eat, and then I'm in there again, and then first thing in the morning again. Like I should have been in there constantly, and I just kind of assume like, okay, if I get this treatment, this icing stem, get stretched out, and get a little scaping on my legs and thighs, I should be okay. Nah, I needed more, and I should have took that initiative as a professional, right, of taking care of my body more because my body, my business. But yeah,
I
those
like it. I'm
guys,
trying to give you
man,
every excuse in the book here. Like, just create
yeah,
this picture where Alex Green takes over the. You're like, no,
You was
Wasn't doing what
giving
I
me
should have been doing that
every,
year.
man, I love it. You was giving me every opportunity. Like, bro, come on. I'm writing these stories on you. Like, all right, here we go again. Another story.
But even now, I love it. I mean, the honesty. It's I imagine you can raise your kids that way, like not being a snowball plow parent and just
Nah,
knowing
no
obstacles
question.
are a good thing. Like, I
100%.
think human beings inherently we need something to fight against.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
God, so many great points. Alex, you're the man. Thank you so much for doing this.
Nah, thank you, man. You know it's all love with us, man. Anything you need, let me know. I got it.
Vice
I live
versa. Appreciate you, man.
besides
Thank you so
money. I ain't got
much.
no money, but anything else, I got you.
Sounds good.
All right, all love, man.
Hey, we'll
Appreciate you.
see you soon.
All right, brother.